Hi everyone, I'm Aldo Pellegrini and welcome back to Guitarskin. Today I want to talk to you about assigning the various effects to Stomp Mode. And not just that, because we've already covered this topic, how to assign effects specifically, which is very simple, but also what to check to avoid, let's say, unwanted effects. Meaning I activate an effect via Stomp, I change scene, everything's fine, I go back and I find that effect is on when I'd actually saved it as off. So these are the little things to check. It's really very quick. Right, let's go straight into the Cortex control. Let's take a preset as an example. And this is one of the presets I'm working on, which will be released soon. And let's see what I can do. So, I usually work in hybrid mode, but for someone who wants to work directly with 3 separate modes, you know, that up here, on the top right, you have the option to decide which mode to use. So Stomp, Preset and Scene. Right click on this little button at the top and you can go and modify your configuration working in hybrid mode. So you can decide to have scenes and presets together or invert them, so you'll have the presets at the top, the scenes at the bottom, or the other way around, you have the scenes at the top, the presets at the bottom by clicking here. And here you'll have the stomps. I usually work like this, so that I have 4 presets at the top, I choose the scene, perhaps for the song I need, and then by pressing the 2 buttons here on the right of the pedal board, you switch to Stomp and you basically have 8 stomps. So 8 pedals that you can activate and deactivate during your performance. Right, now I'll go back to how it was before, okay, so I can show you directly. And now in gig view, we are, okay, in Stomp. How can I assign my pedal, my effect, to the stomp? First, I select it here on my Cortex control, right click, as you can see, the drop down menu appears, assign to footswitch, and I decide which one, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, okay? And I'll say E. Another thing you can do, let's go back here, you say, now that it's assigned, latching or momentary. What does that mean? When latching is basically, once you press the button, the effect turns on. Once you press it again, it turns off. I'll show you. Now I'm in scene, stomp. Let's put it on C. Okay. Now I've turned it on. So I can turn it on by clicking here and turn it off by clicking. And this is latching mode. So I press, it turns on, I press, it turns off. Instead, in here it is. Momentary. What does that mean? Because as long as I keep my foot pressed on the pedal, the effect will stay active. The moment I release the pedal, the effect will turn off. I release now. I don't know. The flanger, or if you want to use it with a freeze effect, which gives you a sort of, it freezes the sound and lets it sustain, or with a wah, or with other effects. Anyway, you have this option to activate the effect in stomp mode only while you're pressing the pedal. Okay, so what basically happens? For every device you have here, you can give, let's say, an assignment here to your pedals. Another thing you can do is give a simultaneous assignment. So the same foot switch can turn multiple things on and off at the same time. So I want to decide that. I'll put this one on G. Now it's off. This reverb effect, which I have set up for this demonstration, will also be assigned to the G channel, just like the other effects I've configured earlier. Now, let's take a look at what is happening here. Do you notice anything on the pedal board? At this moment, my delay effect is currently switched off, as you can see from the indicator light. To activate it, I will turn it on right here using the control switch. Now, when I press the pedal, both the delay and the reverb effects will be deactivated at the same time, turning off together as a pair. Listen for the click as I press the pedal to make this adjustment. Okay, well, okay. So let's say I want the delay to turn on, and when the delay turns on, the reverb has to turn off. So right now I've turned my delay off here, but as you can see, I've assigned this to G, And I've done the same for this reverb, assigned it to G. What's going to happen? The moment I press the pedal, since they're currently in opposite states, one will turn on and the other will turn off, all at the same time. This means that as soon as I press down, both devices immediately switch their states. The one that was off turns on, and the one that was on turns off. The transition happens simultaneously, so there is no delay or overlap. Both actions occur together, making the process efficient and synchronized. Okay. We've seen how to assign effects to the stomps, turn them on and off together, or turn one off while turning another on. You can pair these stomps with anything, gain, boost, or wherever you want. You can pair these stomps with anything, whether it's a gain, a boost, whether it's whatever you want. The last thing to check, however, is here on device settings. So go to the three dots at the top, press device settings, open. You see here there is my account and all the usual things. Look down here, there is Stomp Mode bypass. It gives you the possibility to essentially auto-assign global settings to the full switches so that it automatically manages this assignment. And another thing that you absolutely must look at is this sync bypass state. This is very important because here you can see what is written. So basically, it's the method by which the machine thinks about the assignment of the functions, let's say, your stomp assignments between one scene and another. Let's say I have scene A. In scene A, I want to activate the distorter at a certain moment because I want to make a solo. During my concert, I switch to scene B because the sound I have to use changes. And then return to scene A. Based on how I set it up here, I will decide whether I want to find the scene A that I edited as I last edited it, or whether I want to find it as I originally saved it. Now let's look at it in detail. So you see, the first selection is always a right bypass state default. So what does it mean? What if let's see it, let's do it first because it's simpler. I'm going to select this thing here now. Let's go to scene A, which for me is a clean. Okay, do you recall that I assigned a distortion effect to the C pedal, just as we discussed earlier? So now I've pressed my stomp and turned on the distortion. Now I want to go to scene B. I'm going to scene B. I go back to scene A. But there is still the active distorter. I had basically saved this scene without the distorter, but having modified it while playing, I changed the scene, went back and found it active. If I exit the preset and re-enter, I will find my clean as set, but in the operation of that preset at that moment, the scene is essentially replaced by the last action I made. So now I go back to device settings and say, no, this is not good for me because I want to activate. Then if I change the scene, I want it to return to the original state as I saved it. So it was a clean, I want it to remain a clean. Let's go here, you see, don't overwrite the bypass state. So it essentially keeps what I originally set. Now, the only thing written at the bottom here is that changes made with the touchscreen will be saved. That depends on you, whether you're used to working that way or not. But anyway, while you're playing, it's not like you're going to be manually activating and deactivating effects in Stomp Mode, so I'll leave it like this. The third option is never overwrite bypass state when changing bypass state by any method. So it never overwrites the bypass state, whether you change it with a stomp or by hand on the touchscreen. It keeps the state I saved in my preset. Now let's go back and do the same thing. This is my clean found distortion. I'll turn on the distortion, same scene, scene A. I'll leave it on, change scene. I'll do it here by hand. I'm going to B. I'm going back to A. The clean sound is back. So in this case, for anyone who has a similar problem where they use Stomp Mode, make a change, turn something on, and then after changing scenes, they find the same stomp is still on, this is the way to avoid this annoying situation. Then again, there are those who want this situation. So as you've seen, in the general settings, you decide whether to have function 1, that is option 1, or option 2. Option 1 overwrites the bypass state of your preset, yes, of your preset you've seen, and option 2, it does not overwrite the bypass state you've set as the standard for your preset. That's everything. I hope this has been helpful. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to get new information or news, leave some comments, and I always try to reply to everyone. Thanks everyone, and see you next time. Bye.